Demand for this set is unprecedented, so don't wait. Act now and bring home this tribute to one of the galaxy's most diabolical unions for yourself and your children.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and it's Valentine's Day. And our hearts are filled with an overabundance of toy news this week. Sure, we love our significant others, but life's even better with a little bit of plastic. In fact, it's kind of insane the amount of action figure stuff that is out there right now. News, pre-orders, solicitations, hints, teases. I posted the weekly last Friday/Saturday, not even realizing that Wonder Festival Winter 2020 was gonna start 8 hours later. Not that I would have pushed off the weekly, but I suddenly found myself going, 2 weeklies in 1 week? But I held off, thinking this week would be lean on the news because of Toy Fair next week, that companies would, dial it back a little bit for big surprises. But hell no! It's even worse this week. Worse as in better. Lots of sharks in the water, and our wallets are the chum. Starting off for the second week in a row with some Robo Don't Know, but this time times 2. I have absolutely no clue who Bardock is. What do you mean you don't know me? But I know the Bandai Figuarts Dragon Ball model kits, and I just let me say, if you've never put an action figure model kit together, just do it once. I know some people think, well, I am just fumbly with the fingers, and there's no way I can build a model kit. I was the same way back before I built the Star Wars model kits. Go back to the Darth Vader video of my build. But it's so immensely satisfying, seeing the inside, the inner workings, putting it all together, going from sprues to an actual toy. There's just something about it. And while Bardock has been solicited for a little while, Bandai has released new promotional images, which means release is right around the corner. This month, in fact, and it'll cost you about $22. What, you thought I was going to do the Super Saiyan thing again just because I'm talking about Dragon Ball? I do not stoop that low. I am not going to run a joke into the ground. I'm going to keep it new and fresh. Is it weird that we haven't got an official figure of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker yet? I mean, all these third-party companies have thrown their hats in the ring, but nothing official. Is it the R rating? Kind of the same reasoning why I don't have a 1/12 scale movie Deadpool yet? Or was that a Fox licensing thing? I can't keep all that straight. Either way, I've been fiending for a good Joker action figure, and it seems that Felix Toys may fit that bill. First up, looking at it, the suit may not be the best I've seen at this scale. But it not releasing until the end of the year, they have some time, so maybe they'll work on that, get the stitches a little bit smaller. It's such a fine line when it comes to clothing at 1/12. The thread count either looks too big, something's off here, it's too flat, it doesn't lay right. Some companies nail it, some companies don't. This is a good start, or at least a happy medium. Because whatever shortcomings I see in the suit are made up by the actual head options here. 3 in all, there's the unpainted Arthur Fleck head, and then there's 2 painted heads from different parts of the movie. And honestly, the likeness and the paintwork and even the skin texture, it all kind of looks fantastic. I like the little blood splatter here and there on one of the heads. Accessories include a couple of lit cigarettes, which are completely needed after watching the movie. Also has a gun, a notebook, a mask, several sets of hands. $109, which, is a little bit steep, but it's a third party. It's all probably handmade. You don't get huge factory number discounts. But hunting for third-party heads on eBay and several different sources, you're going to pay $40 to $50 a piece for heads of this quality. So getting all 3 heads, the suit, the accessories, all bundled together, the body, $109. That's still a tough pill to swallow, but how bad do I need a Joker? It's a hard decision, especially from a company selling unlicensed product. Unlicensed product that's not even due until the end of this year. So you pay your money or your non-refundable deposit and then hope for the best. But it is tempting. Oh, plastic, you fiend! I had to go back and check the date on this. Good Smile originally solicited their Space Invaders monster back in July of 2018, and then showed a promising prototype last year. This week we get the official solicitation, and it looks good, but man, something about this presentation just falls flat. You have the monster all cast in black plastic with a very slight gray dry brush on top of it, bring out the details a little bit, and then you put that in front of a dark background, so it's kind of like, what am I buying here? Kind of murky. But at the same time, that's kind of cool. It just feels kind of plain. But getting in there and getting a good look at it, it is a detailed sculpt, and even the fingers are articulated. So hopefully this crazy looking thing will have ample amount of articulation. But going back to the original Space Invaders arcade cabinet, or even the Arcade 1-Up reissue, that's at Walmart right now, I think, I would have kind of liked to seen the actual plastic be red and then a heavy black on top of it, kind of shadow, but it still brings out the details. It's kind of underneath. And then at least a missile accessory, since it comes with nothing. But it is Figma, so maybe they're accounting for its 6.7-inch size to make up the inside of the box. Which is not a bad deal at $60, considering most of the prices of imports these days. The sculpt, the size, the price, even if you're not into Space Invaders, it looks like a good enemy for your Supermans or your Hulks to fight. Oh, and I nearly forgot. It does feature glow-in-the-dark eyes, but the description says you have to turn the eyeballs in order to see the effect. I'm not sure if that just means that half the eyes are painted in glow-in-the-dark or half the eyes are this green glowy color, but why not just have it in there? It's another feature that doesn't seem really necessary. But we'll see when the actual figure comes out and play with it. Going back to the intro and sliding into another Robo Don't Know territory, Power Rangers. This week Hasbro revealed their Lightning Collection GameStop exclusive 2-pack of Rita and Lord Zedd. I have no connection to Power Rangers, but I do get a slight tickle of nostalgia looking at them. At this point in history, I was working at Pizza Hut, I was playing Final Fantasy day and night, or GoldenEye, or watching wrestling, and there was a lot of alcohol involved. Which may explain why I don't remember things like the X-Men cartoon, or the Final Fantasy games I did play, or a lot of the mid-90s. But I guess when I'd wake up to go to my second shift job of delivering pizza, Power Rangers would be on the TV, one of the 2 stations we got. So in that aspect, I guess seeing Power Rangers stuff takes me back to a simpler time. I did pick up the first wave of Power Rangers, and because of the lack of connection, I haven't bought any since, but they're damn good figures, really, when you get down to it. I like the mechanics, I like the joint setup. In fact, I look at them and kind of wish that Marvel Legends would steal the torso articulation. Zedd's a cool bad guy, but if I'm being honest, as someone on the outside looking in, Rita is more recognizable to people like me. And yeah, getting another Zedd so soon after Wave 1 does kind of suck, but it's pretty much standard when it comes to 2-packs. They're going to give you a new character, and they're going to give you a reissue character. But they did go back, from what I've seen people talking about online, they did make the paint apps a little bit more accurate. They painted up his fingers, they made the staff more accurate somehow. And I also see people saying Rita's face is not what they wanted, but it is Rita. Again, to people who are not so invested in the line, it's like, I may have to pick up a Rita to go with a couple of my Power Rangers. GameStop did try to pull a fast one though. When it first went up for pre-order, it was listed as $59.99, when all the other materials said it would be $49.99, and then a couple of hours later, GameStop fixed that price. So if you got it in the first couple minutes, you may want to contact GameStop. And if I'm being brutally honest, I don't know why companies are still giving GameStop exclusives. Yes, you can just pre-order them, but sometimes you gotta hope that GameStop's even gonna contact you that it came to the store or that they even shipped it. And by the time this comes out in August, will GameStop even still be a thing? Who knows? Just yesterday, Hasbro sent out new promotional images for their Star Wars Black Series Rise of Skywalker Zori Bliss, and in these new shots, it shows that the visor is removable and there's some photoreal eyes hiding under there. Just a cool little feature that didn't have to be done. It adds a little bit more value to your purchase here. A little extra mile goes a long way, is what I'm trying to say. About 5,280 feet, I guess. Or 1,609.34 meters. That's how far an extra mile goes. Zori Bliss! This week pictures showed up of the variant Batmans in the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. It essentially looks like the Detective 1000 Batman and then the animated style Batman in blue and gray. But they have to feature a new chest because the black bat, where's my Batman? I think it's sculpted in, and you can see the edge and stuff. On these, they switched them to the old school yellow oval. It's Batman, there's always going to be variants of Batman. With every figure in the line being unique sculpts, this is just a given. They're going to get a little bit more money back on a couple of the molds that they have. And Batman being Batman, it's bound to happen. Today is just full of me having a lack of knowledge about the plastic of which I speak. McFarlane Toys solicited their Call of Duty Modern Warfare Ghost. And I have to admit, based on looks alone, pretty sweet. Who doesn't like skulls? Ugh. And while they promote this line as 7-inch, isn't it closer to 6-inch? I think I have the first Ghost around here somewhere. Again, for me, this is a mercenary for MCU Crossbones or someone for Falcon to fight. Listed on Amazon for $19.99, it's set to release at the end of this month. That's what I like about McFarlane. Sometimes it's just like, hey, here's this. Come get it. You got it. Okay, maybe not every time, like the McFarlane Toys Doomslayer Phobos variant, and then Marauder. One reuses the body that we've seen a couple of times already, different color variations. I think one was a Walgreens exclusive, but the other, the other looks tough as hell. Again, a lackey for my Mephisto or Skeletor, or just to go somewhere else looking badass. You seeing a pattern here? If I don't know the property, I still find excuses to buy those figures. Back to the original point though, these are $20 a piece and they don't come out until May. Well, okay, May's not that far away, but it is a little bit of wait. But not as long as we usually have to wait for a Mezco. Man, the segues today just... This week, Mezco repeated the strategy they used last week on Thanos, where they did a little tease video, and it's kind of a flash, and you're like, oh, I want that, but we probably won't see it until Toy Fair, and then they put it up for pre-order a couple days later. I dig that they're branching out into other DC villains, but when those lights came up on that video, I thought, what? And then I thought, and then, ooh, I like that. And that thought was cemented further whenever actual solicitation pics showed up. I definitely get that some people don't like the look of this character. It's definitely not the green or the blue or the red with the crazy hair sticking out and the whole pinstripe suit all split up and everything. The Mezcofication here makes it look like a real person, like Gary Oldman or John Hamm was smashed in the side of the face, wrong side of the face, was smashed in the face with a vial of acid. It's kind of gross and realistic. And really the same could be said for the costume. It's not over the top as it is in the comics. It's just the jacket is half red, pants are half red, the rest is just a black. So it's kind of subtle, but the general idea is still conveyed nicely. Again, it skews into the Mezco world, with it being just kind of DC adjacent. But then the accessories, ooh, the accessories. You have a missile launcher with launching missile, a handgun, a submachine gun, bullet effects, gauze, 4 switchblades, 4 coins with flipping effects. And let me say, I really like that Mezco throws in extras for all these teeny tiny accessories for people like us, or well, like me, who are getting older, eyesight's going bad, getting a little shaky, got 70s shag carpet. You drop one of these things and it's gone. You'll never find it again, so you just go back to the package, grab another. Mezco, I appreciate you. Not to even mention how kick-ass that coin flipping effect is. More than a few extra hands with various coin options, a light-up bomb case, and then 3 heads. Tonight's gonna rock! Tonight sucks! Bring Kylo Ren to me. $95, which I can only guess is because of the light-up feature in the briefcase or the bomb case, whatever it is, and ships later this year. Hopefully. Probably late this year. Here's an oddball thing. I started seeing this picture pop up a few weeks ago, and I didn't realize what it was. In fact, in my head, I kind of thought it was the Bandai My Hero Academia smaller scale line. I think they're doing... I can't even remember. I never paid attention because I was like, nope, too small. But then I realized it's Bandai America's Anime Hero Series 2, which I know nothing about Naruto, so I never paid any attention to those figures, but they seem to be scaled nicely, some good articulation, but you throw some My Hero Academia flavor in there and what? Because this seems to be an All Might, a Bakugo, and a Deku, all in kind of 6-inch scale. And I'm guessing this line is kind of like the Dragon Ball Dragon Stars line, where it's okay, it's pretty good sculpt, not a lot of paint, some articulation, but it's a case-by-case basis. But it's definitely a good line for people who don't want to pay import SH Figuarts prices. Scale looks good between the students and the teacher. All Might looks kind of weird with the blacked out eyes. If they were going for that effect, they should have shadowed the whole face. But you get to that point, you gotta shadow the whole body because he's constantly in that shadow. It's just blowing my mind that a year ago I knew nothing about this property, and now suddenly there's 4 different companies. Well, how many options are there right now for All Might and Midoriya? I don't know. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Like I mentioned, WonderFest 2020 Winter Edition. started right after last week's weekly, and man, there was a lot of stuff there. Good Smile was in attendance, again showing their Figma My Hero Academia line, and they had their Uraraka at a further stage in production. We saw the grayscale prototype last year. It looks even better with paint. Ooh, that pink just completely works. Kirishima skipped right past those early stages and went to full-on painted prototype. And then Todoroki is close behind, seeing him in grayscale. You gotta think he's gonna get a few more power effects, especially some ice to go with his fire that they're showing right here. And then Kirishima's got to have swappable body parts, right? He's got to show off his quirk. No dates yet, but you gotta think it's gonna be soon, right? I mean, okay, never mind. It is Good Smile, so this could be several years from now. But that's not all the My Hero Academia being shown. Oh no. Kyoto finally busted out fully painted samples of their All Might and Deku, and holy shit. Deku is in his Gamma uniform, which I think is my favorite, and it being Amazing Yamaguchi, oh man, the articulation here is going to be able to show off his shoot style perfectly. And then for All Might, he's big, he's beefy, he's fully articulated, but looking at it, I kind of get sweaty flashbacks of Venom, especially since they share similar joint setups. But we've been seeing improvements, we've been seeing an evolution in the Amazing Yamaguchi line, so hopefully they take into account the bulkiness, the weight of the limbs here, and I don't know, tighten it up a little bit. But you gotta admit, out of all the companies currently holding this license and producing action figures, Kyoto kinda nails the size between All Might and Midoriya. Standing side by side, they look fantastic. No pre-orders up yet, but the placards in front of them say that Midoriya comes out in June, All Might comes out in July, and that puts us past War Machine this month, Wonder Woman in May. But they're still thinking past, into the future. Appropriately enough, I didn't plan that, but they also showed an Amazing Yamaguchi Cable. Finally, a companion piece for the Amazing Yamaguchi Deadpool. And everything I just said about All Might and Venom probably applies to Cable here, although he may skew closer to Magneto. So I'm a little bit more confident in him being stable. That's a good word to use with Revoltech. Stable. I gotta admit though, this looks great. The metal arm is a bit subtle, just some lines, same size as his regular arm, but the basketball texture on the bodysuit, ooh, mwah. And we already see that he's loaded down with futuristic style weapons, couple pistols, couple of big honking rifles. Maybe he'll have some effects for that. But getting a close-up of the face, it looks like he's gonna have the moving eye gimmick that we saw with Magneto, we saw with Harley. Just personally, man, I'm over that gimmick. It's such a pain in the ass. I mean, I've always thought it was kind of nifty, the option of being able to have your figure look in different directions for pictures, for display. But as I get older, it's kind of, this eye doesn't match this eye, they're not looking in the same direction, this one's falling down, this is too loose, this is too tight, pull the face, move it around, put it back on, see if it works. I'm done with that. It annoys me more than it excites me. Not to mention it kind of makes the eye look beady, and you can see the seam line around it most times, especially unpainted. Maybe a little bit better with Cable since this one may be just yellow, so you're not trying to line up both of them at the same time. But at that point, why even make this one move? If nothing else, give us an extra face option that doesn't have moving eyes. You know, make both people happy. Because I'm sure some people still enjoy the eye moving gimmick. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But for me, nope. Not that it's going to stop me from pre-ordering the damn thing. It's Amazing Yamaguchi. It's Marvel. It's X-related. It's Cable. I'm gonna get it. Medicom was also at WonderFest, and they brought along some goodies. Front and center, they showed off a MAFEX Dark Knight Returns Joker. Like the rest of the line, it is very artist-specific. I mean, there is no denying this Joker came from that storyline. And that may not be everyone's cup of tea. They may be like, oh, I prefer the Hush Joker, which I have no doubt we will see sometime this year. But if you have your eye on the Dark Knight Returns Batman, either version, blue or black, you gotta have a Joker to go with it, right? If nothing else, he's really expensive fodder for a Marvel Legends Hammerhead. We already have that head, just looking for a body. And I wonder if that cigarette will make it through final approvals. We saw the cigar disappear from the Amazing Yamaguchi Wolverine, but again, this is not Marvel, it's DC. This is not Kyoto, this is Medicom. But you never know, it'll be interesting. I know that's a weird thing to point out. I wonder if it'll come with that teeny tiny piece of plastic. But over Joker's shoulder, you'll notice the billowing black cape of what appears to be a MAFEX Hush Batman variant. Come on, Metacom. This line hasn't even started to release yet, and we're up to how many? How many are we up to? 7 figures. But they look so damn fantastic that I keep on pre-ordering. You keep on showing stuff, and I keep throwing money at you. When are these going to release? March of 2022? And will it come with that gargoyle? Did we see the blue with the gargoyle, and then they didn't put it in the solicitation? I don't know. I can't remember. It just looks nifty. Flipping over to the MAFEX MCU side of things, they're showing off a Spider-Man Far From Home stealth suit Spidey, complete with Parker head, Edith glasses, and that's an alternate look from the masked head, and then the masked head with flipped up goggles that they're also including. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole war between Bandai and Metacom and how they keep trying to one-up each other when it comes to Spider-Man, but given my track record with that little personal war between them, I've always kind of leaned towards the MAFEX side. I didn't get the Figuarts Stealth Spidey just out of, god dang, y'all quit it. We'll probably see a better one later. But if I do find myself yearning for an import Night Monkey, I'll probably go with the MAFEX. But looking in his background, you'll notice a red sign that says no photos. What, you think people aren't going to drive by sneaky pick these things? Happens every show. Look at the firepower on the top of that shelf. MAFEX is finally catching up to Endgame with Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. There were no photos allowed, and I think they went that route because they didn't want to throw a monkey wrench into the sales of their Infinity War Thor and Captain America, which haven't even been released yet. Endgame Captain America does look a little bit pinheaded, but I don't know, as much as I love the Marvel Legends worthy Captain America, I may have to give this a test drive. And surely it'll have a broken shield too, right? I mean, that's the whole reason for waiting 2 years before they release action figures from a movie, to get them as accurate as possible. Iron Man, as everyone knows, I kind of stopped buying the SH Figuarts MCU stuff just because, I don't know why I stopped. Maybe I got sick of, here's an alternate face. And in their drive to get figures out when the movie releases, they weren't always as accurate as they could be. And even though older MAFEX Iron Mans are kind of a look but don't touch situation, you touch them, they're going to fall apart. With as good as Metacom has gotten in the past couple years, I have faith that this Iron Man will hold together. You shut up about comic Wolverine. I don't want to hear it. Thor, it all hinges on the release of Infinity War Thor, which should be any time now. If that's good, I'm definitely going to get an in-game version because that may be my favorite MCU Thor. This is going to be a definite pre-order whenever Metacom puts those up. Could be tomorrow, could be months from now, who knows. Because they had one more surprise over in the MAFEX Marvel Comics display. Again, pictures were not supposed to be taken of the MAFEX Magneto. I still slip into that every now and then. It wasn't until I was an adult that I heard it out loud and somebody said Magneto, and I thought, Magneto? Anyway, pictures were not supposed to be taken of the MAFEX Magneto, but they were. Magneto looks to be more MAFEX goodness, but the first thing you'll notice is, why did they put him in Age of Apocalypse flavors? He's got the red cape, he has the long flowing hair, no helmet. It's an odd choice. But we do know this year is the 25th anniversary or something like that, and Marvel seems to be pushing that fact with Marvel Legends coming out with a whole series dedicated to AOA. Could this be Marvel telling Metacom to throw a little AOA spice in there? Which is weird after Wolverine and Cyclops being, well, okay, kind of Lee-inspired, kind of video game inspired. Will it have an optional purple cape? And then a short-haired Magneto head or a helmeted head of some kind? Will it stop me from pre-ordering the damn thing? Let's take a vote. Is Robo going to skip a pre-order on a Marvel character? Anybody? No, he's not. If options aren't available in the package, it's a cloth cape. It can be swapped out. And then I have more than enough Marvel Legends and other company Magneto heads to change that out too. And it's not like we haven't seen swappable capes in this line before. The MAFEX Dark Knight Trilogy Batman had a magnet release for his whole chest piece with the cape attached. And actually it's a very nice magnet system, so I'd kind of like to see it here on Magneto where that whole harness comes up and off. But that's it for this week, I think. If I miss anything, we'll catch up next time. If you're interested in seeing any of the pictures shown here or pre-orders, more info, I will post all that on the Fwoosh front page Saturday at noon. And then we all know what next week is, so there won't be a weekly. I will be driving to Kansas City Thursday, flying to New York Friday, and then Saturday starts the Toy Fair. As always, me and Veebs will probably talk about the day's reveals or very important stuff, very important plastic stuff from the bed in the hotel room. But if you enjoyed this weekly, comment, like, subscribe, or whatever the platform you're watching this on allows. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on Fwoosh.